Get analysis on this now from Shama Madibo, who joins me from London. She's a senior advocacy and communication and media manager at Save the Children International Sudan. Appreciate you coming on. I remember covering this story 2 years ago, and people were saying then this is the worst crisis in the world, and it's only got much worse since then. If you were to kind of like try and assess it, how much of Sudan would you say roughly is actually not safe to live in at the moment?
We are looking at, I think, from my estimation, given the areas of crisis at the moment and the ongoing conflict, Sudan is possibly at 40% plus unlivable in many areas. Many areas are really facing even more dire conditions. The camps are overcrowded. There's no water, no sanitation, no access to medicines, no access to humanitarian aid. It's a really dire condition. As you said, there's over 33 million people in need of urgent humanitarian assistance, and that's 2/3 of the entire Sudanese population. And at the moment, there's over 9 million internally displaced, and 50% of them are children under 18. And the 8 million or the 9 million now is almost, just to put it in context, the population of Switzerland. So these are staggering numbers that we're seeing.
I don't know how easy it is actually for people to move when they want to try and flee to somewhere safer. I mean, logically, I would think, has everybody fled to the same areas, which is obviously would overburden any services that are available?
Yes, I mean, there are specific areas that people have fled to, specifically when we talk about, for example, El Fasher. People fled to Tawila because that was the easiest and safest point where many humanitarian work was being delivered to communities. And at the moment, from the conditions that are happening in Kadugli and Dilanj, people were fleeing to the northern states, which means there's a great need of humanitarian assistance there. There's a lot of people on the move, and obviously conditions are very dire and very serious because the fighting is still continuing. So people are still under risk even as they do move to flee.
So
and there's no security to where they're heading.
I was going to say, so even though they're fleeing, it's still not necessarily a safe place that they are fleeing to. I mean, the aid agencies, one thing is they could see where people are, they know where to take the aid to. What are the challenges in getting the aid to those who need it?
There's always a risk, specifically because it's an evolving context and it's evolving conflict. But we do know that within, for example, Tawila, that has been a safe haven for people fleeing to Afashir. We've all been trying to support as much as we can out there. And at the moment, the need and the focus